Tonight, Telstra wants to hear the good and the bad about how you are finding having NBN at your place. And every minute counts, SA ambulance teams hitting the road to teach the skills that could save a life.
This is Southern Cross News with Alison Drower.
Hello, great to have your company tonight. First up, calls today for Kevin Humphries to stand aside. The New South Wales Labor Party says there's a conflict of interest with the Barwon MP's role with the Independent Commission Against Corruption. Patrick Reinke has more.
Step aside until the matter is dealt with. That is the message from the state opposition.
He can't sit on the committee whose responsibility is oversight of the Independent Commission Against Corruption. I mean, there's a clear conflict of interest here.
Labor is calling for Kevin Humphries to stand down from his position on the committee of the Independent Commission Against Corruption, also known as ICAC. It comes after allegations were made against Mr Humphries in last month's Four Corners report.
It's the committee that has the responsibility for determining how the ICAC is run, and there is a clear conflict of interest between Mr Humphries' membership of that committee and any potential investigation that could come about following these very serious allegations.
It's alleged that during Mr Humphries' tenure as State Water Minister, he gave permission to irrigators to pump water from the Darling River system during an embargo. All of this while Broken Hill and surrounding towns struggled for water during a great drought.
That's all there needs to be for a conflict of interest, and for that reason he needs to step down. Otherwise the community along the Darling River and Broken Hill are going to have no confidence in any decision that the ICAC will come out with any matter that's before ICAC while Kevin Humphries is there.
Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
Meantime, a new task force has been created on the Eyre Peninsula to ensure sustainable water usage in the area. It is a partnership between the local Natural Resources Board, Regional Development Authority, local councils and the state government. It will review the supply and demand of water supply and conduct planning on water security, including looking at alternative supplies. Getting the balance right will be critical to the number of major settlements and a large agricultural task force. The task force will have its first meeting later this year. Well, Mid-North communities around Jamestown are top of the list when it comes to recruitment by the company contracted to build the Tesla giant battery. Consolidated Power Projects is promising to keep its workforce as local as possible as the company works towards a December 1 deadline.
It's going to be a busy next few months for many in the Mid-North. The CPP company is in need of an initial workforce of 50 people to help with the construction phase of the world's largest battery.
There will be a significant amount of locals doing the battery work, except for the technical aspect where they might have to bring specialist people from Adelaide.
CPP's decision to try and give as many jobs to locals as possible is being welcomed by many small businesses and contractors based in Jamestown and also outside of the town. The project offering stable incomes and also an economic boost for the region. The Northern Areas Council is also hopeful Jamestown residents will be considered for ongoing employment once the battery is switched on.
We're only going to be in the number of 2 to 3, which will be their operation and maintenance areas after construction's finished. But just with those 2 or 3 jobs, that provides locals with the opportunity to find employment.
Energy Minister Tom Kustantonis says the batteries are on their way to South Australia and civil works have already begun at the site. The project is on track to be fully operational by December 1st. Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
If you're connected to the NBN, Telstra is very keen to hear what you think, both the positive and the negative. An online survey is now live, allowing for householders and businesses to make comment on how they're finding the network.
An internet rollout promised to give users speeds faster than ever, but not everyone's been happy with their NBN connection. After a public hearing was held in Port Augusta in June, Regional Development Far North is giving users the chance to have their say.
Some are quite happy, some aren't. We also want to ascertain the difference between the residents and the businesses, and certainly focus on the businesses and how they're going, because that's pretty important that they do have like a reliable service.
Regional Development Far North encouraging residents in their area to participate in an online survey.
Well, some of the questions we're asking is basically do you know if NBN's available? And that's to gauge whether they actually know, whether they've actually researched if it is.
Telstra acknowledging they've had issues with customers' NBN connection in Port Augusta, Port Pirie and Quorn areas.
Because of the demand in the area at the time and also this overlapping project that we had on, there was several weeks there where internet speeds for those customers alone would have been a little slower.
Yet Telstra SA's General Manager assures their investment to upgrade their connection at Port Augusta's interconnect point should fix customers' problems.
She made the investment now, so for some weeks customers would have experienced an increase or an improvement in their NBN internet speed, so they would have noticed a lot of difference over the last few weeks since we've made that investment.
The NBN survey can be found online. Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
Port Lincoln's Croatian community is still buzzing from the weekend's presidential visit. VIP security went without a hitch when Kolinda Grabar-Kitarovic made a presidential pit stop.
With a warm Port Lincoln welcome, a quick autograph and homage to her late countrymen, the president of Croatia's visit may have been short, but it left a lasting impression.
It was a little bit like a wedding. There was a lot of planning went into it, and it was all over in a few hours.
President Grabar-Kitarovic became the first head of state to visit Port Lincoln since the Queen in 1954. And although it was brief, the tour held special meaning in her homeland.
This community here is very important for us in Croatia as well, not only in terms of building bridges of friendship, but we've used their knowledge and experience in our own fisheries industry.
The acting mayor had nothing but praise for Croatia's first female president.
Kolinda was a charming lady, very easy to entertain, and I can see why she's a very popular choice in her country.
Many hours went into planning for the president's arrival, with a security team arriving a week ahead to ensure all would be right on the day. Mayor Starkey commending Lincoln's Croatian community for cooperating with authorities.
It made us realise that a small regional council can put on a civic reception worthy of a head of state.
The president's visit has now left council feeling confident it can handle any future visits by world leaders, with the mayor keen to not have to wait another 60-odd years for another occasion.
Something like a president or a head of state puts us on the map, and we love to have people come and visit us, and we certainly look forward to it.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
Stay with us after the break. Should one of Broken Hill's busiest streets have CCTV to help fight crime? That's next on Southern Cross News. Welcome back. 3 teenagers have been allowed bail after facing Port Pirie's youth court, charged over the alleged armed robbery of a pizza delivery guy on the weekend. Police say the driver arrived at an address in Senate Road on Saturday night and was threatened with a baseball bat to hand over 2 pizzas. 2 boys, aged 14 and 15, as well as an 18-year-old, all from Port Pirie, will face court again in October. Well, Broken Hill City Council is mulling over the value and cost of installing CCTV on one of the city's busiest streets after police began investigating 2 break-ins on Argent Street this week. Pat Reinke has more.
More and more metropolitan cities are installing street safety cameras. Some councils on the east coast of Australia have hundreds of high-definition surveillance cameras tracking your every move.
It's definitely a conversation to have, and it's important, I guess, from the police side, local business, council, all to have that conversation.
The idea of installing more CCTV cameras around Broken Hill's hotspots comes after 2 break-ins on Monday night. A McCulloch Street post office was broken into at around 3 o'clock in the morning. Soon after, a cafe on Argent Street suffered the same fate.
In the first instance at the post office, it doesn't appear anything was taken. We understand that an amount of money was taken from the break-in at the cafe on Argent Street, and we're very much in the investigative phase in relation to both offences.
Police believe the break-ins could be linked and are encouraging anyone who may have witnessed them to come forward. They are also looking for any CCTV footage from businesses around the time of the offences.
The first ones occurred about 2:45am, the seconds occurred about 3:30. A little bit of distance between McCulloch Street and Argent Street, but it's very likely they may be the same person.
Detective Inspector Fuller says there are a number of factors that come into play when it comes to installing CCTV cameras. While it's a good idea, the quality of cameras and the footage it will record, as well as its positioning and the lighting of the area it's filming, all need to be considered.
Sometimes you say put CCTV everywhere, but it may not be the answer, and it's really about having that conversation, identifying what's going to work for the area and coming up with the best plan.
Patrick Roinke, Southern Cross News.
Meantime, police in Port Lincoln are making extra patrols of certain areas after a spike in car thefts during home break-ins over the weekend. Police believe they are closing in on those responsible, as Jason Kemp reports.
A crime spree that's rattled residents and has police on high alert and in pursuit of local thieves. 2 cars were stolen from properties over the weekend. The first occurring on North Point Drive near the marina, thieves smashing their way into a home before stealing a car in the driveway. That vehicle was later found by patrols dumped on Toobrook Terrace, just 2 kilometres away. Police then received an emergency phone call from a home in Laguna Drive, occupants making the call after youths were found trespassing on their property. Patrols quickly cordoned off the area, but the suspects slipped away. Then overnight a second vehicle was taken, thieves breaking into the driver's window, using the car for a joyride before dumping it on Grintala Road. Police now searching for clues to find those responsible.
We've forensically examined, one of the cars has definitely been seized and forensically examined. Hopefully we'll locate something off that.
But police are closing in. A statewide operation has forced Port Lincoln authorities to take proactive measures.
We certainly have persons that are of interest to us in relation to these offences.
Police urging residents to avoid becoming a target, asking locals to take precautions like securing their home and car keys and simply locking doors when leaving homes or businesses.
We just want people to be very vigilant in their homes. It's easy to feel safe and we should feel safe, but we need to make sure that we're doing everything to stay safe.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
The City of Whyalla is getting ready to welcome mining heavyweights to the 13th Mining Industry Conference and Trade Expo starting tomorrow. South Australia's big players will be flying into town today.
A year ago, resource companies gathered in Port Pirie, with the shadow of the Whyalla situation hanging like a pall over the delegates. 12 months on, and the Global Maintenance Conference will be held in the Steel City, with the mood upbeat.
The entrance of the Liberty Group and Mr Gupta in taking over RM1 Steel is just terrific news for this city, but for the whole state, really.
Arrium will be one of many companies, including mining giants BHP and Oz Minerals, in attendance. They'll be joined by politicians, including State Treasurer Tom Koutsantonis and Federal Resources Minister Josh Frydenberg. Mr Malcolm says the 2-day event brings together the different links in the resources industry chain.
You get buyers and sellers together. The asset owners, mining companies, mineral processors, energy producers.
He says the growth in the billions spent in mining investment in the region will be a key theme.
RM, BHP and also Oz Minerals, which between them are investing an enormous amount of money in South Australia.
While Mayor Lynn Brewer says our local contractors will benefit from the networking opportunities on offer.
To be able to talk to them, to network, to find out what they're doing, to get ideas for our community, for our city, for our business is a really, really great opportunity for.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Stay with us. Next, we catch up with SA ambulance crews hitting the road to teach us more about how to respond to medical emergencies. Welcome back. Let's go to Port Augusta now and catch up with Amelia Simpson for a look at some local sports results. And Amelia, semi-final time for our A-grade netballers.
That's right, Ali. Magpies have been sitting at the bottom of the ladder for most of the season, but this weekend they rose from the bottom, defeating St Joe's 50-36. In a heated game, top-ranking Railways saw a comfortable 21-goal win over Vikings in their last match for the season before they take on St Joseph's in Saturday's semi-finals. Port Pirie's A-grade already held their semi-finals on the weekend with some easy wins from Solomon Town defeating Central Risdon by 7 points, and Blue Wren's straight shooting SM Celtics to an 18-point win. With Rapina out for the season, Whyalla held their semi-finals this weekend. First-ranking Warriors defeated True Blue, propelling them straight into the grand final in September, and YCW scraping in a narrow win against Kiwi. They'll face off against True Blue next week for a shot at the grand final. In true form, way back at the top of the ladder defeated second-ranking Wanilla, Imperials and Souths United gaining ground over their opponents. But Imperial and St Mary's will have some work to do to get off the bottom. In the Northern Area A grade, reigning Orroroo gained the highest score in their division for the week with 63 goals, 30 more than a struggling Jamestown, and BMW thrashing Crystal Brook. But a closer one for Broughton, defeating Southern Flinders 48-43 ahead of the elimination final at Crystal Brook this weekend. And now to the region's results from the soccer field this weekend. In Port Lincoln, it was a close game between South Coast and Lincoln City Raiders, South Coast kicking just one goal over their opposition. Lincoln Knights, however, showing their footwork on the field, thrashing Seacole Masters 4-1. Tuwayala Wanderers rose from the bottom of the table, narrowly defeating the Lions by just one goal. A 3-goal win for Croatia against Steel United, and they're well on track for an undefeated league championship season. In the Broken Hill Women's League, Alma conquered West 4-3 and St Joe's defeated Celtic by 3 goals. Some big scores from the men's, West kicking 5 goals to Alma's 4 and St Joe's thrashing Celtic 2-0, with St Joe's finishing top of the table. Alma's high scores not enough to get them off the bottom. It's been another ripper week of netball and soccer in the region. It'll be ramping up for the netball finals this weekend for sure. And if you've got local sport results that you want seen here on TV, drop us a line at localsport@sca.com.au. Ali?
Thanks to Amelia Simpson there. SA ambulance teams will be hitting the road in coming weeks, training people living in remote parts of the state with first response skills to save lives in the critical minutes or even hours before medicos can get there. The first workshop has been held in Orroroo, northwest of Port Pirie, as Rachel Nell reports.
Living in a remote community means help is sometimes far away, and in the event of a medical emergency, people need to think fast and respond immediately. Last night, more than 50 people packed into an Orroroo hall, all keen to learn how to respond the right way in those first critical moments of an emergency.
Come along and, learn and enjoy themselves, and again, give them the confidence of what to do in those first few minutes.
The hands-on workshop covers a wide range of techniques that enables a patient to be stabilised while medicos are on the way. Demonstrations were given in CPR, how to operate a defibrillator and other life-saving skills.
Doing cardiac compressions prior to the ambulance arrival, they are key fundamental life-saving sort of techniques.
The workshop is all about giving people the confidence to be able to respond at an accident scene or other medical emergencies. Tomorrow night, the team heads to Laura and then other communities in the Mid-North next week.
Come down there free, enjoy yourself, have a coffee, have a chat, and hopefully we'll give you some skills and some knowledge and, more importantly, the confidence of how to act.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
Well, a Broken Hill couple plan on helping several of the city's charities after winning big in Saturday's lotto draw. The retired couple, who want to remain anonymous, won over $800,000 when their numbers came up. They bought their ticket at Silver City News World, a news agency that's produced plenty of winners in the past. And may your numbers come up this weekend. Stay with us. After the break, a check of all of your local weather. Well, just some light cloud around today, allowing for a little hint of spring. Port Augusta enjoyed the warmest of our centres for a top of 19. Whyalla and Port Lincoln made it to 18, 17 for Port Pirie, and cooler as you headed south to Adelaide for 16. On the satellite, still some cloud cover for the southern parts of SA, bringing showers to the southeast, but clear skies over the north and west with a ridge of high pressure. On the water tomorrow, we'll see southwesterly winds with seas up to 1.5 metres. A full moon tonight and then sunrise at 9 minutes to 7 and sunset at 5:54. Tomorrow's lows and highs will see mainly fine skies across the Gulf, 21 for Port Augusta and Corn, 19 for Whyalla and Broken Hill, a shower for Cleve and a mainly fine 16 degrees if life is taking you to Adelaide. To the 4-day outlooks now, and overcast until Friday for Port Lincoln. Clear skies will mean frosty mornings for Cleve and mild days for Woodner into the weekend. Whyalla can look forward to some lovely days of 17 or 18. Port Augusta will also get a sunshine overload between now and Saturday, and Kadina staying fine for 15 degrees. In Port Pirie, your next 4 days are looking very nice indeed, with sunny days of 17. Clare will come out from under some cloud for a cold one on Friday, just 13 degrees, but fine into the weekend. And all clear for Broken Hill. Plenty of blue stuff out there for 17 degrees. Well, that's all your latest local news from the Southern Cross team tonight. There's lots of ways to keep in touch with an email or just follow us on Facebook and Twitter. And you can view any of tonight's stories or past bulletins on our Southern Cross News YouTube channel. We will see you back here tomorrow at 6:30. I'm Alessandra. Have a great night.